40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. You know I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. I'm only 40%. Go. 40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to I'm 40% Podcast. It's me, Nick Sohoya, your beloved producer. I'm here today.
God.
I'm here today.
Boo!
Dante, I'm
Boo!
so sorry. We'll get to, Dante, I'm so sorry. She has been really salty. She lost this election.
I was doing a really good job as producer.
Well, then you should have campaigned harder, or you should have voted, because now I'm the producer and you have to live in that world. Civic awareness. Dante, I'm so sorry. We're going to get to you in a second. This is the queer Futurama podcast that everybody wants. Everyone loves it. Everyone asked for it.
You want to maybe introduce the name of the podcast?
It's called I'm 40% Podcast. I said that. You don't listen.
When?
Or you would know that. I said it at the beginning when you were booing, when you were sabotaging the production out of pettiness. We have a wonderful guest today. They are a very talented musical performer from the beautiful city of Seattle, Washington. Everybody, please welcome Donte Da Qween. How are you, Dante?
I am dandy. I am super rested, kinda. I'm an insomniac, so rested, kinda is where I love to be at.
I want to let our audience know this
is what I strive for.
Right? That's my moment right there. I'm like, ooh. Girl, I'm kind of good. I think I can do stuff.
I'm kind of good. Dante, will you tell the story of the one night we worked together? You told it before we began recording.
Yes. Me and Jinkx met at a lovely event in Seattle in a old chapel called Gender Fierce. And I was just like, oh my God, it was Jinkx. And I was like, I'm gonna say something to them because I was just like, I'm not afraid to talk to people. I got this. and I saunter over and I was just like, you look great. I bet you did good on Drag Race. Jinkx turns to me and she says, just watch. And then she gave me a little smile and I was like, yeah, that bitch won. I was like,
when you were just saying I'm not afraid to talk to people, which A, I believe, but B, truly, I was just talking to my friend Jimmy Harrod, who was on America's Got Talent recently. And I heard myself saying to him at some point, well, I watched your performances on YouTube, but I don't watch the show. And then I realized that's one of the things that I hate most is when people come up to me and say, oh, you must be that drag queen. I don't watch the show. That's not gonna work on me. And it's like someone trying to beat you down, as an introduction.
Trying to gain status on you.
I don't know. The two stories aren't very related. But...
No, they're not. We'll cut that out. Dante,
that's my anecdote. That's my opening anecdote. You have to keep it in. The audience has come to expect it.
Dante, you messaged me and we're talking about how excited you were about Futurama in general when we posted the news that Futurama was coming back. And you said that you were a listener of the podcast, which warmed my heart because we've worked together a little in the past. Why don't you tell us?
I'm sure you did.
What is your experience with Futurama? Did you like it from the beginning? Did you get into it in the streaming era? What's up?
I definitely loved Futurama since the beginning. I was here through all the original seasons and I was there for the movies. And then I fell off when it came to streaming because, bitch had a life. But I was just like, now that I have less of a life, I am back and I'm ready for the new season to pop up. Because I was just like,
isn't that the best part of the pandemic?
It's just like
part of
you
the
get that
pandemic, there's
perfect
more time for
balance.
your loved ones, aka TV shows.
Right.
So have
The
you
perfect
seen
balance
all the
of
way
life
to the end?
and no life. I've seen mostly all the way to the end. I feel like there's a few episodes that I definitely, because the insomnia. I'm like, I'm staying up till 5 a.m. to watch Futurama for no reason. So I may
But did you
doze
see the
off between
final
episode 8 and
episode?
9. I believe I did. I was
Okay.
just like, I'm pretty sure. I was just like, I'm also a little high right now, but I'm pretty sure that
You're in good company. You're in good company, Donte.
Donte, I can relate. First of all, I have narcolepsy.
First of all, I'm a little high right now.
Well, that's a given. Anytime I'm doing anything. But I have narcolepsy, but I also have insomnia. And a lot of people with narcolepsy do experience insomnia because of the way they self-medicate throughout the day, like having too much caffeine, or you sleep throughout the day and then by the nighttime you're not tired at all. Blah, blah, blah. The point is, I watch like cartoons just for hours trying to sleep, and then I'll fall asleep, halfway through. Do you ever dream about the thing you're listening to?
Yes, all the time. I fall asleep to one of my favorite animes, Detective Conan, all the time. And they're just like constantly like, Donte, I know you killed that bitch. And I'm just like, I didn't kill nobody, I swear. And then I wake up in like a nervous sweat because I swore I killed somebody. And I was just like, they had it so lined up, it could have been me.
They had it so lined up.
They had me convinced.
I was just like, obviously, I'm a murderer in my sleep.
Well, always great to have a fan of Futurama and animation in general on the show. Let's get into this episode because, wow, this is a good episode. I really want to talk about it. This episode is called...
This is one of my favorites. This is a very good episode.
I had to pause it. It took me probably 25 minutes to watch the first 5 minutes of this episode because I kept pausing it to take more notes about how much I liked it. The episode,
I thought you were going to say it took you 25 minutes to watch the episode, and I was going to say that's just 3 minutes longer than the
episode. The episode is called "Put Your Head on My Shoulders." It's a Valentine's.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Donte, are you on TikTok? Did you do a TikTok for that meme? That meme that was going around?
Oh yeah,
I don't do the TikTok.
Jinkx, this is not giving what you think it's giving. All we see is lint.
You can see the lint on the camera.
Yeah, it's a very high quality camera.
This is cat hair. I thought it just read as black. It doesn't look like lint to me.
It's got a lot of little white specks on it. Anyway, Donte, you're aware of TikTok, right? Did you see the video? Everyone was doing the video.
Yeah, I don't like when everybody does the same thing naturally.
I agree.
That's just my personality. But I did view some of them that were really good. I was just like, I like this. Some of these. I'm not going to say I like this as a whole thing, but I like a lot of these. I like the song.
It's a good song.
There was parts. I like parts.
I like it when someone's doing a TikTok meme, a TikTok trend, and they really convince you they're just doing the trend, and then it has a twist, and then it's very funny. But then once you've seen like a couple twists, you realize that
it was funny. You see.
Yeah, I see. But once you see a couple of them, like trends move so quickly. It's like once people start spoofing the trend, there's only like 3 ideas. And then you're like sick of seeing the jokes about the trend. And it's like, you're not surprising anyone by joking the trend.
The trends only get like 2 days for me. I'm like, oh, that's cute. I like this. The second day, I'm like, I'm kind of getting annoyed. I need this to stop. And then the third day, I'm just like, I need to take an Instagram break. Yeah, we're just not going to do that.
We have a Chiron. There's no cold open. We go right into the opening credits or opening theme song. The Chiron says, not based on the novel by James Fenimore Cooper. I thought this was a funny one. I did have to Google who that was. He was the guy who wrote Last of the Mohicans, but I thought it was funny even without knowing that. I give this Chiron 4 Chirons out of a possible 5 Chirons. President's Day sale at a car dealership. We've got George Washington and Abraham. What do you want?
This is so dry.
George Washington. That's what people say about your punani.
Excuse me. Do you think we can get Uber Lube to sponsor our show? It's the best lube.
Really?
Uber Lube. It's the
Uber
best
Lube. It's the best lube. I've tried some lubes in my day.
A great slogan.
Uber Lube is the best.
I've been using Swiss Navy, but the last person I used it on
Swiss Navy
was like,
until I found
this.
Uber Lube.
Is it associated with the car share company?
No.
So like Uber Eats?
No. Okay, so Uber in German just means
if you've got someone in your bed and you call an app and someone comes in and lubes them up for you, Uber Lube.
I'd do that. But no, Uber in German, I think like
super.
Direct
it means super. Yes.
Or over. I think it directly translates to like over, but in the context, it means super or superior. Yes. So stop trying to like
just get to the point.
All together.
This is such a good episode. This is such a good episode, and we haven't talked about it.
Your job as a producer.
I am. I'm yelling at you. That's my job.
You really set me off with the link thing. I really can't stop thinking about it. Now I need to go change my shirt. I really didn't think you'd be able to see on the camera.
It looks fine until you.
Cat. Does it look okay from here? But when
I didn't see anything.
Just when you pushed your shirt into the camera, then we could see all of it.
Just get on with the episode.
There's a President's Day sale at a car dealership. This is a thing that happens in real life. But in the future, it's a little different.
Because it's malfunctioning Eddies.
Yes. Which is sort of a takeoff on like Crazy Eddie. You know, I'm so crazy. My prices are low.
Every sitcom has a car salesperson who's completely certifiably nuts. Yes. They should be an insane asylum. And then, it leads to Futurama taking it to a robot that is actively malfunctioning. And then Rick and Morty taking it to a man who can't feel anything and has ants in his eyes at all times.
Oh, I forgot about ants in his eyes, Johnson. But yes, that's the exact same trope. We're all from Seattle. Do we remember the horrible Vern Funk commercials? That's the vibe I was getting from this commercial. You know him, Donte?
Vern Funk. I was just like, I remember just turning down the TV often. My sisters loved those damn commercials because they knew I didn't like them. They'd be like, ooh, Vern Funk is on, girl, turn it up. I'd be like,
what is it? Will someone explain it to me?
It's a car insurance
hundreds
commercial.
Of thousands
and
of listeners who have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a car insurance company in like Burien, and they hired this man, a fucking place, and there was all these bad commercials with this guy. He was like a bald man with a goatee, and I'm Vern Funk. He wasn't Vern Funk. He was some actor they hired. That really shattered the illusion.
Is Vern Funk a person?
Yeah,
a separate person. I was the first thing that actually pissed me off was that he wasn't Vern Funk.
He's not Vern Funk.
I was just like, y'all already setting me up with the lies here. And I was
is Vern Funk a famous person?
No, he's the insurance man.
He's the insurance man.
But he hired an actor to play him.
Yeah,
because the real Vern Funk was probably dry. And he was like, yeah, you could be Vern Funk and you can, bring in some people. But I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't here for it. I was just like, I want to see who the real Vern Funk is. May the real
be
Vern
real
Funk
with us, Vern.
Stand up, please.
You were supposed to honk when you drove by Vern Funk. And whenever I saw it, whenever I drove by, I did want to honk, but because it made me mad. But they wouldn't interpret it as such.
I think you can honk angry. There's a little boop, 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 boop. But then there's like a...
There's something wrong with my
inside enjoyed it.
Yes, I think so. Just trying to do their job and people are blaring on their horns in front of their buildings.
Fuck you, Vern Funk.
Anyway,
fuck you too, girl.
Amy and the crew, they're all watching this commercial. Amy's like, I want to go car shopping.
My parents said if I got all B's, they'd get me a bar, and I got all C's.
Very dumb joke. But it's like, what would have happened if she got all A's?
An
She'd get an AARP membership.
There was just never a world in which Amy got all A's.
But she's so smart. She writes a dissertation. She's very stupid in this episode.
She's very stupid in this episode, but when she needs to be smart, maybe she's just smart about Earth's rotation and not smart about anything else.
Or maybe she just has like
remind
ADD.
her she's smart is when she knows she's smart. They're like,
When
oh
she
yeah,
applies
Amy,
herself.
you're smart. And then she's like, yeah, I
lifted
am.
up. That's
like,
the
that's all
power
you
of
need.
lifting our friends up. You know, you give them support and they have the ability to do wonderful things. Now let's see how much more Nick can fuck up being a producer.
They decide to go to Malfunctioning Eddie's. Bender decides to come along because his ass has gotten recalled and he needs to get a bumper installed. We go there. The man, Billy West, is doing kind of a Spanish accent this week. Little uncomfortable.
That was Billy West doing the
It
car
must have
salesman.
been. Who else would it have been?
Victor.
Yeah.
This leads to one of my favorite lines.
Oh, there's a bunch of good shit in
Futurama
this
writing
dealership.
But
well,
I'm sure
we'll talk
you wrote
about it
down. I need
the cars that are
verbatim.
we'll talk about all of it. The cars that are being shown, Victor is showing the Beta Romeo to Amy, which I don't know. Is that a joke? Beta Romeo? Like, I don't know. It seems like it's, I don't know. And Fry is being shown the Ford Thunder Cougar Falcon Bird. The Beta Romeo is full of eagles.
Okay, wait. Something that stands out to me when Fry's sitting there getting free coffee and the salesman is like, zeroing in on Fry, trying to,
work his magic.
Go in for the kill. When he says, spotted her the moment she came in, and Fry goes, yep, she sure is beautiful coffee. That's just one of those moments where I was like, I don't know who wrote this line or who insisted this line being in the scene, rather than Fry just being like, what? Fry says, she sure is beautiful coffee.
He's just stupid on this extra special level that transcends having a normal reaction to things.
I don't know why this line stands out to me. You know how like sometimes something can stand out in an episode and then you have a hard time paying attention to the rest of the episode because you're thinking, why did that line get written? How did that line make it into the episode? And I
feel like I definitely can identify with some beautiful coffee as a sleepy bitch. I was just like, I've definitely walked into rooms specifically because there was coffee and wasn't there to see anybody else. And they're just like, hey, queen. And I'm like, hey. And then I took my coffee and left. And they're just like, where you going? I was like, I just came here for the beautiful coffee, not really for the beautiful conversation.
Beautiful coffee.
That sexy coffee. That's all I'm here for.
There are times like when you live with other people, there are times where it's like you need something from outside of your bedroom, but you really don't want to have to interact with anyone yet. So you're like listening for the movement through the house. And then you try to like hypothesize, do I have a clear access to the kitchen without being seen so that I can continue to play like I'm in bed and I haven't woken up yet. So I'm off limits still.
Horrible house experience like that. I lived in this big ass house for like a second because I was subletting for my friend while I was waiting to move into a place. And it was this big ass gorgeous house. It was beautiful and it was filled with fucking people, which is like opposite of what I want to live in. So I was just like, I'm having my castle fantasy in a castle full of people. And I'm just like, ugh. And I was just like, okay, it's fine. As long as they're not like a whole bunch of nosy bitches, which they were. It's just like, literally, I could hear them like gossiping about me and my roommate from downstairs being like, so yeah, I don't know if they're like fucking, if they're together, but they're really cute anyway. And I was just like, damn, bitch, my door's not even closed. I was just like, y'all are sitting in the kitchen having this conversation. I was like, not even in your bedroom. I was just like, can y'all like go in your room if you're going to talk about me, bitch? I was like, thanks, because I wanted to come down here and get some water. That's real great. Thanks.
Donte,
Like, we didn't even know you were home.
I would be a bad journalist if I didn't ask. Were y'all fucking?
Were you fucking? Yeah, I need to know now that you brought it up.
I mean, we used to fuck, but it was like years ago at that time. So I was just
At
like,
that-
Good, and
hey,
you're still friends.
yeah, we're the best of friends, actually. I still live with them.
Maybe they're fucking. Who knows?
They're cute, though. I was just like, I like that they said that we were cute, though. I was just like, I'll let you slide.
I operate under the idea that everyone's fucking all the time.
That's what I think.
Whenever I
Every
see
time
two
I
straight
leave a
people
room.
like share a knowing glance, I'm like, they're fucking.
Right?
Why is it got to
They
be
fuck.
just two straight people?
I just don't get what straight people are and what they're up to. Like whenever there's a cis man and a cis woman and they're both heterosexual, I'm like, they're near each other. They're probably fucking.
I'm the opposite.
People
I
used to
think
do
you
that
leave
to
two
me.
gay. I think if you leave two gay men in a room unattended, they will begin having sex immediately.
The Beta Romeo, the Beta Romeo is full of eagles. The front of the car is the seats are stuffed with eagle feathers. The dashboard is inlaid with
the beaks of 1,000 eagles. Also, there's some eagles in the floorboards. Also, wait, why does the car have floorboards? What?
It's really nice.
It's a really nice car.
The owners and salespeople, we see that Malfunctioning Eddie is not a Vern Fonk situation. He is actually in charge. He's managed. We see him just at a desk, which I found hilarious.
Swear to God, if Vern Fonk comes up one more time in this, you didn't even take any time to explain it to the listeners and the viewers. You were just gonna bring in Vern Fonk and keep moving. And I think for that alone, you shouldn't be producer anymore. Go on with the episode of Futurama.
Yeah, I'm the one distracting from talking about Futurama. We find out that Amy is very bad at shopping because she has too much money and she doesn't know how the world works. She offers above the sticker price. Victor goes in to talk to Malfunctioning Eddie, and he's very, very excited. But Victor comes out and says he is not pleased. And then she bids more. But it's
80,000.
The best part of this is when Amy's like talking to Leela, and she's like, no, I do need to get this car. It's everything a beautiful woman like me needs, because that's kind of Victor's go-to, is he says everyone needs a beautiful woman. They end up buying the car. I don't know what to say. Malfunctioning Eddie's head explodes when he hears 80,000.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this scene? We got to move on. So much stuff happens.
I don't believe that car would have cost only 60,000 or 50,000, whatever the starting
50,000
price
was the sticker price.
That was way too low for a sports car full of eagles in the year 3000. With inflation, everything
there's
else,
spaceships now. Like maybe cars are cheaper. I don't know.
Oh, is it kind of like how things used to cost more and now they don't because we're on to bigger and better things?
I don't know, man. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Amy needs to parallel park her new car in front of the office. She's like, oh, I'm so bad at parallel parking, but it's a hover car, so it just moves perfectly sideways. And then
bangs back.
When she's in there, she crashes into the thing. Donte, do you drive? You have to parallel park ever?
I don't drive. I grew up in New York, so I never had a license. But I did try to learn how to drive in Seattle, but then I realized that I have so much car anxiety because people in Seattle don't know how to drive. The first time I was learning how to drive, I was in a car and I was chilling and I was like, here we go. And then this lady comes flying down the hill on the wrong side of the road. And I'm honking my horn oh my God. Oh my God. And then she just gently swerves into the other lane. She's like, oh. And I'm just no, bitch. I almost got out the car. I was so do we chase her down the hill? I was like, for what? I was just now what happens? My dad's you just let it go. I was just yeah, driving's not for me.
Seattle drivers are nuts because Seattle drivers act like if they are 30 seconds later, it's the end of the world. Like in New York and LA, where there's a lot of traffic, they just accept it as a given. Seattle drivers are convinced they're going to somehow beat the system. And that leads to lots of car accidents. And I rode my bike my first year in Seattle. I was hit by 3 cars in the span of 2 months. I was late to a final because they totaled my bike.
Well, I mean, Seattle's a very walkable city, so I'm glad that you
not when you live in the U district and you go to school downtown.
Well, I mean, that is a problem. They get back to the office. They get back to the office. Hermes is yelling at someone in his office. Turns out he's yelling at himself for asking for Valentine's Day off. I was in no mood for my own shenanigans, I believe is the rough quote.
Hermes is always so hard on himself, but I guess he's hard on everyone.
It's funny because he smokes weed and it just makes him more neurotic. It's a funny character choice.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I have to be tough on myself too.
I can relate to that. Hermes is such an interesting character because they're constantly making weed jokes, but he's not written at all like a stoner archetype. Like he's written like a bureaucrat archetype, but because he's Jamaican, I think they felt like he also had to constantly be talking about weed.
I think that's the joke is he's fastidious, but also you wouldn't expect a stoner to be fastidious.
He's Rasta and fastidious, and in that he is a complex, nuanced human being.
He contains
which is actually very good writing.
Yes. Good line from Fry here.
Phil Lamar, who voices Hermes, do you think he smokes weed?
I don't know. Lamar. I don't know enough about him.
Remember, he was on Mad TV for years. Phil Lamar.
I don't remember that. Fry says, it's Valentine's Day. Oh, crap. I forgot to get a girlfriend again. Very funny line. Very relatable. He asks Leela out. And Leela is not really into it.
Surprise, surprise.
As we are recording this, it is the day after Valentine's Day. I know I was very bah humbug about the last holiday episode we did, but for some reason, I don't feel as intensely negative about a Valentine's Day episode as I do about a Christmas episode. How do we feel about Valentine's Day and episodes about it?
Well, okay. I think Valentine's Day, obviously there's just a ton of shit wrong with how Valentine's Day is forced upon us in America. The emphasis on being in a couple is forced upon us. There's so much like capitalism at play, blah, 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 blah. But what makes Valentine's Day like more palatable and easier to swallow than Christmas is that they don't start pushing it on us like 3 months early. Valentine's Day kind of comes and goes. It can be rough. And I think it's worth noting that it is a rough day for a lot of people because you're inundated with this idea of coupling and love and blah, 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 and spending your money on shit. But it does kind of come and go very quickly, whereas Christmas is like weeks of agony.
Yes, I agree. Donte, thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like very much echoing what Jinkx said. I feel like it's just a little too fucking much on like one day. I'm just like, okay, I get it. You love the bitch. I'm like, I'm here for that. I was just like, but like every other day of the week when it's just like regular love, not like, oh, now I have to post on Instagram that we've just been spending the day loving each other. I'm like, okay, bitch. But I'm like, if you didn't love the bitch every other day of the week, I don't want to see it today. I was just like, I'm just saying. I was just like, because it's like when I actually see people that I'm like, oh, those people are like really in love. That's sweet. I was just like, I feel good. But then when I see performative love, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I completely agree and relate to everything you're saying. And even still, I had the the conditioned feeling of guilt or pressure because I am in a relationship to I was like, you have this random thought at some moment where you're like, if I don't post about it, will my partner think I don't care? Will people who like view me think that I don't actually love my husband if I don't like make a big fucking deal about him today? So I posted something to my stories, but that was it. I was like, this is just to get the like conditioned guilt and shame out of my mind. But
That's where I would do it
post
too.
to my grid like a big picture of us like
or like the 5-photo collage and you swipe through it and it's all them kissing in different locations. Ugh, I want to barf.
Like,
Michael and I usually post the most.
Okay, you're happily married. You don't get to complain about Valentine's Day this much, Mom.
I lived with you and your partner for 2 years. I could talk about mine for 1 goddamn minute.
Amy says, let's go on a drive to Mercury.
What's the weather like?
What's the weather like?
Boiling lead.
Boiling lead, yeah.
Lava. And then Fry says, so shorts?
They are driving with their top down on Mercury, which I have questions about.
Which is the only way I like to drive, baby.
They're blasting the AC to counteract how hot it is on Mercury. And instead of turning down the AC when they get too cold, they turn on the heater. They
how about
Amy
some icy how about some icy margaritas? Icy
margaritas.
Let's go. Hold on. I'm gonna pause.
I have it written down. You keep it interrupting.
I'm gonna go through the order of events. Okay. First, the AC is on. Fry gets cold. He turns the heat up. Then he's too warm, so he turns the AC up more. Then Amy says, how about some icy margaritas? And they start blending some margaritas in the car. Fry goes, who wants Pop-Tarts? And
no, you missed one. This is why I should have done it.
Oh, then Amy says,
we're slowing down.
Better turn on the gas guzzler. The point is, they exhaust the car's resources very quickly, and now they are stranded on Mercury, which is that survivable? Should we just assume that it's survivable in the future?
Well, they put the top up, so I think they'll be okay.
Oh, goody. They put the top up. Wait,
Amy,
Mercury is the closest planet to the sun?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. No.
Jinkx, name all the planets in order.
Curtains.
Will you help me, Donte? I know Mercury.
Yeah. I was like, not in order. I was just like, I watch a lot of Sailor Moon, but I was like, not in order. I can't have it in order. I was like, Mercury, Venus?
Yeah.
No?
I was going to say Venus, but I didn't trust myself. Mercury, Venus, Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, is it a big one?
It's a little
Bulbasaur.
Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, like, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto.
Yeah, I was just like,
first of all, Mars. Pluto.
It's not a planet anymore. I don't care.
But
Amy,
she's still, let's go.
Pluto is a planet.
Amy needs to call septuple A. She puts on some makeup. It looks like a phone, but it's a makeup case. And Fry says, why are you putting on makeup? And she says, splah, it's a video phone. And I think this is the introduction of Amy's weird Mars slang. She might do it once or twice. I don't think it's the
introduction, but this is kind of where we start hitting the oil slick with Amy's futuristic made-up slang, which is...
She said smeesh earlier instead of...
Smeesh, Leela.
Yeah. I say bloops sometimes if I like drop something. I'll say bloops.
I think smeesh is my favorite. There's another one, splah, instead of duh.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
It's my best friend Kenny's favorite aspect of the entire show is Amy's future slang.
They are waiting for the car. They have to wait a couple hours. Amy is mad because she's going to get sweat on her sweatsuit. Fry and Amy start to bond because they're both dorks and they both resent their parents. Can anyone relate to this date? Making out in a car.
I can relate to every date at this point. I've been around.
I was like, I've made out in plenty of cars. I was just like, were they dates? No. I was like,
Just hanging
probably
out with a
after,
buddy.
probably before. I was like, probably just because I was in a car, or just like, we're cute in a car. Is that a date? I don't think so.
I full on had penetrative sex in the front seat of a car on Broadway, which is a very busy street in Seattle. And like, it wasn't dark and it wasn't late and there were people walking by. I don't know what we were thinking. I mean, we were mostly closed. So I think maybe we thought no one would realize what we were doing. But there's only
I definitely had a moment like that in Seattle. Also was not covered in any way. I was like, wasn't even inside the car. I was like, literally just car door open. I was like, child, my teenage I was like, who is this bitch? I was like, definitely not a queen yet. Definitely was on some princess shit.
In the
Portland,
Right.
outside one of the clubs I worked out, I remember one night there were just a guy and a girl just having full-blown sex on the hood of their car. And people were like walking up and talking to them, and they were on a different planet. They tried to get me to join, and I was tempted. I'm not gonna lie, but I was in full drag and I had a show to do. You know, like I was really weighing my options.
It's like, I mean, this is a lot to come out of, but I mean, you are having a good time. It's like
the
to
tow
be
truck,
in another world.
the tow truck arrives. He thinks that they're having sex and he goes, whoa, whoa. And then they're not having sex and he goes, whoa. But then they start having sex as they're being towed and he goes, whoa, whoa. Yes. I love this voice. That might be added to the soundboard. In the meantime, I'll click this one.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
I need some more sounds. I don't have enough
But you
sounds.
do have strong feelings. You just do love it.
I know. I
Moving
just
on.
clicked a random button.
We get back to the Planet Express office, and Hermes is going over the daily business, finishing morning announcements, and then says,
and that concludes the summary of the movie I saw last night. But like on the whiteboard is like football plays. It was very funny.
On to our next order of business. Did anyone spend the night together?
No.
Which is just, we talk often, Donte, about how Planet Express crosses many, many boundaries, many, many professional boundaries.
Yeah,
Can you imagine a workplace where it was a morning routine where the boss asks if any of you slept together, like if you and any of your coworkers slept together, and you had to check in?
Definitely not the job I'm working at now, but maybe the job I'm about to start working at this weekend.
Has
I
anyone
haven't been there long enough.
Has anyone ever had sex with a coworker? I have not, but after he didn't work there anymore, he came over and I was drunk and we had sex and it was all right.
I usually do that after we're not working together because I just don't like people. I was just like, because if people start acting weird, I'm gonna be like, girl, not at my place of work. I was just like, I will cut you off too quick.
I'm trying to think. I've only had so many jobs, and most of them have been very solitary. I went out.
What
on
about
a date
Magnolia Crawford? Does that count?
We didn't work together. We never did a show together. The two of us did not even know that the other. When we slept together, we didn't know the other one was a drag queen. Neither of us knew the other one was a drag queen. We kept it from each other because it was back in the days where I could hide it.
Brian,
now I have my eyebrows tattooed on and no one questions what I do for a living.
Brian and Amy reveal they've been sleeping together. Bender says, wow, you scored the perfect girlfriend. She's rich. She's probably got other qualities. The professor says, do I hear wedding bells? And Brian says, no.
No. And then the professor says, oh my.
He's like having a stroke or something. We established that Zoidberg is lonely and he's also poor, which gives Bender the idea to start a dating service. But before he starts a dating service, there's some jokes about pimping that have not aged well.
They haven't aged well. No. Are they objectively funny?
pretty funny.
I think so. Here's the thing about comedy and mindfulness. Of course, I prefer people who strive to be mindful and conscious of the jokes they are making, not contributing to the problems, but contributing to the solution. But I do allow for some jokes made in a certain era to be grandfathered in a little bit because at the time, I don't think we considered these jokes. We weren't being considerate, we weren't considering how these jokes would make sex workers feel. So no, I wouldn't want these jokes to be written today. In the time capsule of when they were written, they're pretty goddamn funny. They're not terrible. They're not so degrading that I think most of my friends who are sex workers, I think, would laugh at those jokes. That said, one of my favorite lines is, "Shut up, baby, I know it."
Mine too.
Bender, we love you.
Shut up, baby, I know it. Nick says, when we lived together, Nick would say, "Shut up, baby, I know it," to me a lot. And I really liked it. I was like, "Oh, Mr. Sahoya."
Zap has decided to go to Bender's dating service. Bender gives him a Scantron.
Wait, can we talk about how the dating service? First of all, Bender says, "Wait a second, you're telling me people will pay money for romantic encounters?" And then it just cuts to Bender.
Hard cut. Yeah.
Bender in court for and he says, "Stupid anti-pimping laws." Then he decides that the best alternative to pimping is just to do a dating service. Now, back in the days before Grindr and Tinder and apps where, you facilitated your own dating service, there were dating services like this. There used to be oh my gosh, places where you'd
dating places.
Yeah, you'd mail in. You'd film VHS tapes of yourself sitting in the mall talking about yourself. The women got to make their tapes for free, and then men would pay to for the service of thumbing through the tapes and
I like that,
picking out their filly to ride.
we are like a third of the way into this episode and we have 10 minutes left. That's not true.
We have 15 minutes left and we're half of the way. You need to get your producing hat on, buddy.
You need to stop talking when I'm talking and stop going on tangents. There, I said it.
The tangents are why the people listen to the podcast. If they just wanted to read,
Bender takes the Scantron
what happened in the episode, they'd watch the episode.
High-speed romancological data fire, which is just him going beep, beep, a deep, beep, beep. I thought that was funny.
Wait, you forgot one beep.
I fucking hate you. Fry and Amy are doing it in the supply closet. I feel like in a different universe, they ended up together. And that is what my spec script for the new season of Futurama is they go to the universe where Fry and Amy are the ones who got together. What happened to Leela in that situation? You'll have to find out when you watch my episode of Futurama.
She married Zap and is miserable.
Yes, perfect punch up. I'm not giving you any writing credit. Yeah, I'm stealing it from you. Amy is talking to Fry and says, "I sure do like hanging out with you." And that sends Fry into a panic spiral. He feels like she's being too clingy because she used the word hanging out.
This is worth talking about. I feel like until this point, we've assumed that the reason why Fry doesn't have much luck with women is because he's dumb. But this is where we learned that Fry also has been conditioned by the time and place he came from to be a toxic man. He's not often a toxic person, but when it comes to relationships, it is not until way late in the season, way late in the series, that Fry starts to unlearn the bad habits the bad traits of masculinity that he either chose or was conditioned to enforce. But right now it's kind of like I'm realizing, Fry, you've got a lot of growing up to do before you're going to be worthy of Leela's love. Okay.
When did we start hanging out? No, it was just like when y'all were fucking in the damn car. That's when the hanging out started. I was like, y'all were hanging out. The back seat, the front seat.
Fry is venting to Leela. He's panicking about the potential of this turning into a relationship. Leela says, "You're overreacting," and Fry says, "Am I? Am I?" And it like echoes a little bit. And they have a date. Fry and Amy do, and they're going to Europa to spit watermelon seeds at Jupiter.
Why are all their dates on different planets? They can't just go to a fucking movie.
I'll tell you, I'm seeing someone right now, and that's how you keep the spark alive. You just got to go to new places. We go to a restaurant and we're like, well, that was bad, but it was fun because we went to a new place.
Michael and I went to Dave and Buster's on one of our early dates, and it was one of the best.
Trying to show him American culture.
We just wanted somewhere we could play video games at night. And so
like, those are my favorite places. I was just like, if I can play video games and drink, I was like, that's the best.
It was a very, very straight atmosphere, but we were in San Francisco, so like no one was surprised that a couple of, visibly queer people walked into the...
I love going into very straight places, looking visibly queer, and then taking up all the space, being like, "Ooh, girl, can you pass me that?" Maybe like, I'm like, "Yeah, you, the straight looking one. Can you pass me that?" I was like, "I need things."
I'm just thinking of you going into a predominantly straight place, just exactly how you are right now, with the fur hanging off of your shoulders,
like,
your pigtails.
I need some assistance. And they're just like, "Yeah, I can help you. What do you need?"
I would take you on a date to Dave and Buster's right now, just to see.
I was like, we should go. I was like, I'm already ready.
I'm only 3 hours away. You're up in Seattle. I'll be there. Give me
I'm waiting.
You can go to ground or not ground control. What's the one there? GameWorks. Did GameWorks survive the pandemic?
Oh my God, they just closed the GameWorks.
Oh,
it was overpriced.
My
anyway.
heart broke. It really was. I only went on Thursdays when it was $10 to close.
Oh,
they didn't tell everybody that though. Yeah, you could play unlimited from 7 to close for $10.
That's a good deal.
And they never told anybody. I know. I went all the time on Thursday because there was nobody there.
Fry wants to invite a third wheel on this date because he wants a buffer between him and Amy. Leela says no, so he settles for Zoidberg. They are flying around Europa, and Zoidberg is being very annoying.
Bird eggs, animal carcasses, dry woven reeds.
And he eats the picnic basket. Fry is being awful, and he decides now is the right time to break up with Amy. So he takes her into the back seat and puts Zoidberg in charge of driving. 2 mistakes in one. Great line here. Fry is using a bad metaphor, and he's saying that, when chocolate wants to hang out with you all the time, you don't want to hang out with chocolate anymore.
You know how you can like chocolate, but suddenly chocolate wants to hang out with you all the time and you don't like chocolate anymore? Are you trying to tell me something? Can chocolate let me finish?
What? You don't like chocolate? Can chocolate let me finish? Yes. Zoidberg can't drive. He thinks to increase the speed is to turn the steering wheel to the right. He crashes because he cuts the steering wheel off with his little lobster claws. His pincers. It's a horrible crash. Fry wakes up. This is another favorite line. Fry says, "Was anybody hurt?" And Dr. Zoidberg says, "Oh, no, of course not. No, nobody but you." And we find out that Fry's body was like mangled somehow. So they had to remove his head and attach it to where? Amy's shoulder. That's where we get the title.
The title of the episode, yes. Now, Donte, if you were to wake up and your head was attached to someone else's body, whose body would you want to be attached to?
Oh my God.
Keep in mind, you do control their left arm.
Okay. You got a left arm guy.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God. I was just like, it would have to be like either a really like attractive man or a really rich woman. Because I just want her to just like have like a really nice purse that I could like control that little arm with. I was like, it doesn't even have to be anybody in particular. I was like, either of those two. Because I was just like, I would just make the man like have this little hip moment all the time wherever he went. And then whatever, like with the purse, I would just be like swinging it wherever I go. She'd be like, okay, can we stop swinging the purse? I'm like, no, girl, we're living our life.
No, we're
It's a
living our life.
fantasy.
I just thought of my answer, and I think it may shock everyone present, but I realized I have to, if I'm gonna like share a body with someone, it has to be someone I can do my act with, you know, like I have to still be able to work. Like they need to be someone I have chemistry and can banter with. No. Anyway, I'm gonna say Nick. I want my head on Nick's body.
You're not welcome.
That's not you. It's okay. Then let me die and see what happens to your fucking podcast.
Donte, you're the new host. People are gonna love this.
Wow,
I would pick someone
so quick.
I would pick someone with a lot of access to anywhere. I have this thing where I want to go inside places just once to see what it's like in there. So I would pick someone who, not even like Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's agent, someone who's like in her house all the time, can go backstage at like Madison Square Garden. I just want to see all these spaces that I'm not welcome in.
You could be like a security guard. No, I'm just kidding.
So Nick wants to be attached to Jeff Bezos. Wow. Really glad we spent time talking about that. Really good job giving him a platform.
If I was attached to Jeff Bezos, I would fucking strangle him.
A left hand.
I got the left hand, baby.
Would your brain function be enough to keep?
I don't know if me threatening Jeff Bezos's life is an absurd enough thing that we can leave it in.
I think it's absurd enough, but we'll see when he listens to the episode how he feels about it. Moving on.
Well, we're not on Spotify. We're not Joe Rogan, so he doesn't listen to us.
We're not? Yes, we are.
He's on Spotify, right? Did I make that up? I don't know.
We're on Spotify, though.
Oh my God, we have so much more to talk about. Like
I know, so do your job.
On the shoulder. Fry decides to break up with Amy, even though he's currently attached to her. I think this is why Jinkx's answer to the question she posed was so upsetting to me, is because I think all of the problems in this episode are because people don't know how to just like take a moment, realize the gravity of the situation, realize the impermanence of the situation. You're only going to be attached to Amy's body for a few days. Let's just focus on getting well. Let's not worry about going out on Valentine's Day. Let's just hang out and get through this. They're literally playing ping pong.
You're saying I couldn't
be ping pong with each other.
Okay, but
play
you're saying
a board game. Play something that makes sense.
You're saying that
you don't know how to adapt to the situation.
You couldn't stand my head being on your body for like a portion of time. I'm not going to have my head attached to my best friend or my partner. You know, like it can't be someone I already spend too much time with. Like at least it would be like, okay, I'll go visit Nick for a week and live on his body.
Leela is very desperate for a date.
Plus, these young twinks just flock to you for some reason.
Leela is desperate for a date. She also goes to see Bender. God, we have to start going faster. Amy is, Amy, when she gets broken up with, is like very sad about it for about 3 seconds. And then she's like, well, whatever. Do you mind if I go out with someone else on Valentine's Day? So now Fry is actively looking for a date on Valentine's Day so that he's not the only person with a date on Valentine's, you know what I'm saying? So that he's not the third wheel.
Everyone ends up going to Bender. Zap Brannigan ends up going to Bender. He doesn't want to say it's him. So he says his name's Smith, Zap Smith. Brannigan. Leela goes to Bender and he says, it's going to be $500. Will Zap Brannigan work? And she says, no. And he goes, 600. Like it's cost an extra 100 to not just set her up with Zap Brannigan.
It's so crazy how much this costs.
Yeah, Fry ends up going and Bender says, but because you're a friend, I'm going to need it up front, because he knows Fry and he knows that Fry's not good for it. Now, I like the recurring bit. I like that Amy first, when she wants, when Fry needs some privacy, Amy's like, sure. And, plugs her ears and starts singing in Chinese to herself. And then later she's just angrily singing the exact same song in Chinese to herself. Because the voice actor who plays Amy is Asian, I do like those moments of the voice actor getting to speak Chinese in the show and give us a little glimpse into Amy's culture as a very rich Chinese woman in the year 3000 who owns Mars. I like getting to know about that.
Amy is getting ready for her date. She's wearing probably my favorite Amy look of all time, this red dress with the cutouts. Really good.
Looks like Fry an Aquaria outfit.
It does look like something Aquaria would wear. Fry is getting worried because it seems like she's expecting maybe she'll get laid. He says, and that's an awful lot of makeup you're using there. And she says, this is deodorant. And he says,
what's it do?
Very Seattle joke. We can all relate. They all end up at
another
this
point
restaurant.
For Fry being sexy.
They all end up at this restaurant. Amy's date is hot but douchey. Fry's date is nowhere to be seen at this point.
Until Bender brings in
Petunia.
Now, before we talk about Petunia, we need to talk about now Zap Brannigan is on a date with a trans woman, or
we should talk about this.
Either a trans woman or
maybe a cross-dresser.
Yeah. We're not entirely sure how this person identifies, but what we are sure of is that this joke is homophobic in its nature. It's transphobic in its nature. And then there's the layer of because we know what an idiot, douchebag, jackass Zap Brannigan is, it's also saying I don't know. It's multi-layers of bad.
Yeah, I feel like the joke is Zap's so dumb that this horrible thing is happening to him, that he's on a date with a trans person.
And he has no idea.
What a horrible thing that could happen.
And he has no idea. And we learn later that when Zap has feelings for what he believes to be another man, he actually is pretty chill about being transamorous. He's confused. Ish. It's not perfect, but he's kind of willing to explore those feelings in a later episode.
He's growing as a person.
But in this episode, it just feels like the writers took a swing and a huge miss. And it's disappointing when one of your shows that's one of your favorite shows, every once in a while does something that completely attacks who you are as a human being and to your core. And I don't believe that the writers were trying to punch down. It was just the accepted humor. It was just your go-to joke back in the day. You need a joke to fill some time. Let's make a gay joke. Hell, gay people don't matter. Let's just take a swing at them real quick to fill some time so that we
go for the knee.
Yeah. So that's all I have to say. That 10-minute monologue is all I have to say about that.
Donte, any thoughts on that character or any of these dates that we're seeing?
I was just thinking, the nerve of somebody who wears a velour skirt.
The audacity, the gumption, the gall.
That's all I kept thinking, the whole time. I was in a velour skirt. For the whole time, I was those thick ass thighs in a velour skirt. It's all I was thinking about that whole time. I was just
We meet Petunia, Fry's date. Bender brings her up. This is one of I think in my mind, it wasn't until very late into my Futurama fandom that I realized that Petunia and the Kajigger lady were two different characters, because they're both just kind of like crotchety old women who are
but the
meant to
Kajigger
be
lady
gross.
is
the
a little
joke
bit
is they're gross.
Yeah, but they're very different brands. Excuse me. Oh my God. They're very different brands of gross.
That was very Petunia of you.
I know. They're different brands of gross. They are at very different stations in life, but they are both voiced by Tress MacNeille and have similar vocal qualities. But what I love about Petunia is that at some point in the date, midway through the date, she goes, "Wait, I just realized something. You don't have your own body." She's asking Fry what are Fry's like gambling habits? Like, do you play bingo? Do you play Keno? Yeah. And then she says, "Wait, I just realized you don't have your body." And he says, "No, but I control this arm." And she goes, "Slots player, eh?" You know what? It's just not going to work out between us. Petunia. This rode hard and put away wet. Leather.
I was like, he can still play cards. I was like, he can hold
Donte,
some cards.
Have you ever been set up on a blind date?
Oh no, I no.
I feel like it's a thing of the past. Everyone's got
I just don't,
a little camera.
I don't trust people like that. I was just like, "Oh, girl." I was like, "You want me to pull up?" I was just like, it would have to be somebody I definitely trust. I was just like, for me to be like, "Yeah, I'll go with somebody that you set me up with." But I'm just like, just any bitch being like, "Oh, girl, I know somebody." I'm like, "No, you don't."
It's like, no, you know one other queer person, and you think that we should be together.
It's just like, and I hate him already. It's not gonna work.
Like Anthony and Stanford, just the two queer people you know should be together because that's easier on you.
That was infuriating.
Yeah, what I'll say is I think the reason blind dating is dead is because of how easily we can now access cameras. Everyone has a camera now. It used to be you had to buy a camera. You even used to have to buy film. Like,
do you remember the show Blind
Date? As abundant.
You remember that?
But I don't feel like
Aisha Tyler hosted it for a while.
I don't feel like talking about it. Move on.
I liked the ones where they set up like a really hot girl with like a dud. There
was only one gay episode of Blind Date I ever think I saw. They like gave it a shot and they were like, people aren't ready. People aren't ready to admit that gay people date. Now, move on.
What about Next? Do you remember the Next bus?
Yes. Move on. Oh, wait. Okay. So Leela is on her date.
Speaking of buses. Yeah.
Leela's on her date with the bus driver. And he's like, he's weighing his options with Leela and he decides, this 5 a.m. bus to Nutley ain't going to drive itself. Petunia hears this and says, "Did you just say you're going to Nutley?" And romance sparks between Fry and Leela's dates. And then Leela says to Bender, "Did you just round up all these people at the bus station?" And Bender's like, "No, how could you accuse me of such a thing?" And the bus driver, Sal, says, "Anyone else going to Nutley?" And half of every couple in the restaurant gets up and leaves. So yes, that was what Bender did as a dating service. Rounded up a bunch of people at a bus station, set them up on dates, called it good, took their money.
Can you imagine being at a bus stop and a robot comes up to you and is like, I would probably say yes. If he was like, "Hey, come in here, eat some food, talk to this person for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'd be like
that bus to Nutley.
I would, if Bender came up to me and said, "Will you go on a blind date for Valentine's Day?" I'd say, "Bender, baby, we love you."
Shut up, baby, I know it.
It started to become clear that Amy and her date are going to the Bone Zone later. Fry is freaking out.
We glossed over it earlier, but when Amy was getting ready for her date and she goes, "I'm almost ready. I'll just be 20 more minutes." And Fry says, "But you're practically ready now." And Amy goes, "It's good to make him wait a little bit." And Fry screams, It's true. What is Fry screaming? It's true. It's true that it's good
This
to
is
keep
a
them
straight
waiting?
people joke. I don't know why
Or
we're
is it
spending time on
true? Like he's like saying,
This
it's
is a
true.
joke about
Women do this.
women are so slow at getting ready, unlike me, a man. That's what the joke is. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, yeah, it is definitely only a straight thing because these fucking gay
Bottoms
men-
get ready quick, you know? That
Are
would
you
be our
kidding me?
equivalent.
Are you kidding me?
Okay,
Bottoms get ready quick.
This is why she relates to the joke. Got it.
Tops get ready quick. They put on what, a new shirt? That's
Some
it.
sweats and they're out the door.
Leela comes to the rescue in order to stop Amy from going home with her date and getting down. She says, I hear that banking industry regulations are really quite simple, because she knows that's his job. And he says, oh, no, that's not true.
It all started in 1410.
When a councilman of, it's, yeah, very funny. Fry says thank you to Leela, and we cut to him getting his head sewn back on. Amy says, if I ever feel lonely, I can look down at this disfiguring scar and think of you.
Don't worry, Amy. That scar will never be seen again.
Yeah, I feel like
we'll
the
never have to
surgery
talk
in the
about
future.
this.
Yeah,
We'll never ever reference this ever again. In all of Fry and Amy's interactions for the rest of the 7 seasons, they will never once again refer to the time that Fry's head was sewn onto Amy's body, although it feels like it was a very significant event in their lives.
Leela calls out.
I moved on.
Leela calls out Bender for his scam. Bender goes, I helped you, didn't I? Didn't I?
Bender, you're actually trying to take credit as if this was all some sort of master plan of yours. Saying it, Leela? Wasn't it? And she says, no, it wasn't.
No, you're glossing over the best part. We get a fake ending where the fucking thing, you are glossing over it.
I'm getting to it.
You said Leela's line before you said it, Irised in.
Whatever. Go on.
I'm the filmmaker of the two of us, Dante. This is why I know these things and she doesn't.
Ever seen a little movie called the Jinkx and Nick Holiday Special?
Yeah, you did a lot of work in the edit bay on that one, Mom. Anyway, it's a fake out ending. It's very funny. Got me the first time. Leela starts shouting and the show comes back for about 15 seconds where we get a gag where
and she says, no, this wasn't a part of a big plan. You just marketed off of our desperateness and pocketed our money. I'm paraphrasing.
Yes.
And then Bender says, but in the end, isn't that what Valentine's Day is all about? And that's something they can all agree on.
We can agree on that.
I knew the gist of it. If you would have just let me tell my story.
Fry has a sensitive neck, so when his neck gets touched, he kicks his foot, and Bender puts his arm around Fry's neck, which causes Fry to kick his butt, and his butt explodes. And that's the end of the episode. Thoughts?
My thoughts are, it's a good show.
Dante, you've seen a bunch of Futurama. Where does this rank on, like, is this a high episode for you? Is this a low episode for you? What did you think?
I did really like this episode. And I remember, like, while we were talking about it, like, just seeing it vividly in my mind. And I was like, I do remember this episode. I was just like, I definitely give it, like, a strong, like, 8. Because I definitely laughed a lot in this episode. I was just like, I was remembering all the laughs. I was just like, good times. It's right up there with Snoo Snoo.
It's up there with Snoo for sure.
Yeah.
Jinkx, would you like to ask Dante the questions? And this is a note from me for the future. I want a sound bumper here where Leela says, let me ask you something, Fry. And that's what we'll say here in the future. So people
we're going to leave this in the episode so that we can hold you accountable in the future.
I will get it. I will rip the sound.
If you don't have it
really good at this soundboard.
If you don't have it by the next episode,
I will do it. You don't think
filthy,
I will?
Filthy liar. Dante, these are our compulsory questions. First question, of all the Futurama characters that you are aware of, who would you do?
Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm just thinking of like
So many
everybody.
good
I
options,
was just like, right? I was just like, I don't know why, like the first one that popped into my head is like that fucking construction worker who's always just like, whoa.
Hey, get to know Dante's type.
I was just like, oh my gosh, that shit was, yeah, it'd be great. And I was just like, he's definitely on the list. I was like, Kif could get it too. I feel like Kif needs like he needs some.
Yeah.
I was just
Kif.
like, and I would give him that.
Okay.
I was just
love
like,
that.
I was just like, definitely on the top.
There's a lot of sexy B cast members. Kif,
Right?
Calculon,
Yeah.
Elzar could get it. 4 arms.
Bam! Every time.
Can you imagine? Bam, 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 bam.
I'm like,
give you
okay,
a
Elsa,
bam for
everybody
my
knows what's
spice
happening
weasel.
right now.
Jesus.
Just like
the
that.
other question.
Take it up a notch. Okay, who covered in spices? Who of all the Futurama characters do you most identify with?
Bender, probably.
Oh.
I
What's
don't
the
think that
rationale
needs any
there?
further question. No,
I
I was gonna. You could ask. I feel like I get it.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like everybody else is a little too stupid. I was just
Okay.
I feel like I am Bender because it's just like, I feel like, I am usually the one who knows what's going on in the room, but I too get my feelings hurt and want to be emotional about it and want
That
people
is
to
Bender.
understand me. I was just like, and that's
wow.
me.
That is Bender to
And
a
I was
T.
just like, and that's me too. I was like, that's why me and Bender. I was like, we right here. Pimp Mobile. I was just like, in my top 7 words too.
Daffodil.
We'll get to that episode. That's another 10 out of 10 episode right there.
Ooh, definitely.
And Donte, now that you have watched this episode of Futurama, has it like sparked a resurgence of Futurama love in you? Are you going to start watching it again? Will you continue watching it from here? Are you going to watch the new season when it comes out? Where do you now stand with Futurama?
I'm so excited for this new season. I definitely was watching some over the weekend because I was like, I got to get refreshed. I got to prepare. I got to watch some shit that I ain't watched before, but I also got to watch some of these old episodes because I was just like, I got to see my favorites before I get in.
See the favorites first. But there's some good shit in the Comedy Central seasons. There's some very funny episodes in there.
There was. I was just like, I'm definitely loving some of these episodes I haven't seen. I definitely watched the episode when Bender had a son last night.
That one's good.
And I love that episode. I was just like, obviously I love the Bender episodes because it's about me. And I just love, it was a great episode.
Wanda Sykes is the vending machine robot.
Right? Sykes. I was just like,
I would listen to Wanda Sykes. No fucking joke, no hyperbole. I would listen to Wanda Sykes say anything. Every single role I have ever seen Wanda Sykes in, she just is perfect. And she plays just Wanda Sykes every time. She doesn't play a character. It's just Wanda Sykes as a CEO, Wanda Sykes as an art teacher, Wanda Sykes as a vending machine. Every fucking time, I think it's just top notch, 100%. To me, Wanda Sykes can do no wrong.
I feel that way 100,000%. I think often of that scene from Pootie Tang where Wanda Sykes is just like, I just want to shake my ass. And she just starts dancing on a well-lit corner, and it's like the only light, and it just zooms out. She's just like dancing on the corner, and I was like, "This is the best movie now."
I went and
because
saw
of this.
Pootie Tang in theaters and I fucking loved it. My favorite was when there's that standoff and they keep getting closer and closer to each other.
Yes.
And then they're like face to
I'm
face,
sorry.
squishing their faces. And then they're all of a sudden past each other and they don't know how that happened. Anyway, Pootie Tang.
My favorite
maybe
Wanda
that's our
memory.
future podcast.
My favorite Wanda memory is when she played the Oracle in the MTV parody of The Matrix. That was very good.
I thought you were going to say when we saw Wanda Sykes in LA, my first time to
We
LA.
It was our first time in LA and she was ordering food at the place we were. And she was like, that's Wanda Sykes. That's Wanda Sykes. And I was like, no, you're being stupid. We're just in LA. You think everyone's a celebrity.
Donte, I don't mind telling you exactly what happened. Wanda Sykes walked into this restaurant and I said, my first time in LA, it was the week of my premiere of season 5. Wanda Sykes walks in. I tell all of my friends, Wanda Sykes just walked by. And then for the next 5 minutes, all of my friends called me a racist for thinking that it was Wanda Sykes because they just saw the back of her head and just assumed I thought the first Black woman I saw was Wanda Sykes. And then she turns around and leaves the restaurant and it's Wanda Sykes. And I was
You're like, so.
crying. Because at first I was like, no, it was. And then I became convinced it wasn't. And I was like, I am. This is something I have to examine in myself. I'm in LA. I know famous people live here. I assumed the first Black woman I saw was Wanda Sykes. And then it was Wanda Sykes. So I was gaslit and vindicated within the span of like 10 minutes. It was
You're like, I want my apology basket now, damn it. Big ass Wanda Sykes buttons in it. And a copy of Pootie Tang.
Donte, thank you for being such a wonderful guest. Where can our listeners go to find you? Maybe see some of your shows if they are in Seattle or wherever
Portland.
you're performing. Or Portland.
Tacoma.
Right. I was just like,
Renton.
I'm taking a little break on performing as I'm finishing up my new EP that's about to come out later this year. It's called Queen of Hearts. It's going to be so cute. But yes, you can listen to me anywhere where music is streamable under Da Qween, DAQWEEN. And you can listen to or buy my music on my Bandcamp, which is daqween.bandcamp.com. DAQWEEN.
And go buy it because they'll get more money if you buy it. And if you're going to stream it, they won't get as much money. So just buy it.
And I got cute purple vinyls if you're into them vinyls. I was like, you can get a cute purple vinyl. I do. My album is on a vinyl. Look at she.
Fancy.
I'm going to be completely honest. One thing that I do is I'll buy the albums of artists I want to support and then listen to it on Spotify because I just Spotify is very user friendly and I find it to be just easier for me to use day to day than some other music.
So Jinkx loves Joe Rogan. That's the takeaway here. That's the end of this episode of I'm 40% podcast. Thank you so much, Da Qween. You are the best. I love you so much.
Thank you.
I hope I get to see you next time I'm in Seattle.
Nerve.
Thank you so much.
The audacity.
Goodbye, everybody. Say bye, Da Qween.
The gumption.
Bye, Jinkx.
Bye.